Welcome back to Can Cycles. In today's example, we're going to look at the G72 cycle. Right now, the first thing I'm going to do is go to our operations and expand the gallery and go into our roughing cycles. Now that I've selected the roughing cycle, I've got to tell it what geometry we want to cut. So we're going to use a partial chain in this case. I'm going to start from this section here, reverse my arrows, and go from here to here. So we're going to rough this section. Now that we've defined what we're going to machine, we have to tell it what tool we're going to machine with. Right now, tool 4 will work for this situation, so that's what we'll select. We're going to go into our can roughing parameters. And right now, if you look at this dialog box here, we have a G71. Well, we don't want G71 in this case. I want to change my direction to get a G72. The only difference between the cycles is the direction in which they're going to rough. Now that I have that set, accept all the defaults for the moment for speed. Now let's take a look at what my cutting is doing. So we're going to go into backplot. And I'm going to bring our speed up to max to save time. And right now you can see our roughing program and a semi-finished profile. So that looks pretty good. So we're going to post our code. And now we have our roughing cycle. And with a fairly compact piece of code, we can remove quite a bit of material. So we can also make this a longhand cycle if we want. Some operators prefer a compact code that they can edit. Some people don't care, and they'd rather have it a longer cycle. So I'm going to Control C and Control V here, and I've got a separate operation. Now the reason I did that is if I change the one I had, I won't be able to go back. If you look under here, it says permanently change your longhand to a longhand cycle. If I hit this button, it will indeed permanently change it to a longhand cycle. I'm going to check the button, and I'm going to calculate that. And you notice we get a slightly different result because it's using the defaults of the system at this point. We'll backplot this result. It has an action here that is a little bit different than what we had before. So let's see if we can make them the same. Under parameters, I'm going to go back in. And under lead in and lead out, you notice on the lead out here, I have it at 45 degrees, which is okay. But we're trying to match them up to do the same machining operation at the moment. So we'll make it a 90-degree angle. And let's take a look at that. Let's recalculate that. And we've got a similar toolpath, but we don't have that last profile that was in the can cycle. In order to get that, we're going to have to go back to our parameters. And under our semi-finish, we'll select that. For the moment, we'll select the defaults, leave them as they are, just for speed. And now we'll recalculate. And we'll turn that backplot on and see what we've got. Okay, now we have a very similar toolpath to our can cycle. I'm going to just backplot that to show you. Just want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples in these examples. So now I'm going to post the code to this second operation. And when we post code, we should get a little bit longer program. Make sure it has a little bit different name. All right. If we look at this program, we've got a little bit more, quite a bit more code. Let's put them side by side so it's easier to see. So this is our compact code here from our can cycle. And this is our longhand cycle. So as you can see, you'd have quite a bit more code here than you have from the can cycle. And there's a little bit easier editing on the can cycle. We'll get into that a little bit later. And this example here is a fairly simple example, but it demonstrates the difference between roughing a can cycle and roughing with a longhand cycle.